Hi there, I'm Ben Morton and welcome to the Leaders Kit Bag, your go-to podcast for practical leadership insights in just 6 minutes. In each episode, we tackle real challenges faced by leaders and managers, offering actionable tools and strategies you can take away and immediately apply. And because leadership doesn't happen in a studio, these episodes are mostly recorded outside on the move. They're raw, unscripted, and straight to the point. So, wherever you are, let's dive in and sharpen your leadership skills 6 minutes at a time. In today's episode of the Leaders Kit Bag, I am once again answering one of your questions. Now, apologies, I can't name check the guy that sent this in. This question appeared in the comments in my feed months ago. I've been scrolling through, but for the life of me, I cannot find it again. But essentially the question was, can I talk about open questions? Yes, is my answer. Apologies, terrible joke, I know, but it proves a point. Can I talk about open questions is generally a closed question. And a closed question is one that generates either a yes/no answer or a very short 1 or 2 word answer. Now, to be absolutely fair to the gentleman that posted this question, that wasn't his precise question. The real question was more along the lines of, can I talk about open questions and give him some information to share with his colleagues, particularly around what they are and when to use them. And that's what we're going to cover in this episode of the Leaders Kit Bag. Firstly, what are they? Well, building on what I've just said, an open question is one that generally does not generate a yes, no, or 1 or 2 word answer. For example, in an interview, an example of a closed question could be something along the lines of, would you describe yourself as a resilient person? You're going to get a yes, no, maybe type answer. An open question that would be more useful and give you more information and insights into that person could be something along the lines of, can you please describe a time at work where you really had to persevere and push on against some really difficult, challenging odds? A very different question that's going to generate a very different type of response. Some other examples of really simple open questions could be, what options do you think we have? Can you tell me how you feel about this? So that's what open questions are. Next up is, when should or could we use them? The thing here is we often fall into it's not really a trap, but we often think of open questions as merely being a tool or approach we use when we're interviewing people. But actually, great leaders use them much more often than that. We can use open questions to encourage problem solving. What do you think? What other ideas are there? If we had no constraints or limitations, what would we do? You can also use open questions to understand other people's perspectives and the position or stance they've adopted by asking things like, tell me more about how you've come to that conclusion, or what are the real needs you are trying to have met in adopting this position. So they can really help us to understand different people's perspectives and points of view. And the third one, which if you've followed me for some time, you'll know I believe is absolutely fundamental to effective leadership, is that open questions are also great for building relationships and a sense of connection. Because as leaders, people will follow us and go the extra mile and step up when we make big requests, when they know we know them and care about them. So an open question for building relationships and connection could simply be, tell me about your weekend, or what's been the highlight of your week so far? And they work when we actually stop, pause, and pay attention to what they say in response. Anyone who's got kids will be familiar with this, right? And I used to do this when my daughter was much smaller. I'd pick her up from school. If I said something like, hey, how was your day? I'd either get good or fine, thanks. So instead, I built a habit and routine, actually, and my daughter knew these two questions were coming, of asking two open questions. And it was always, what did you love? What did you learn? And generally, we had a really lovely conversation. The final thing I've got for you in this episode of the Leaders Kit Bag around open questions is around why they are so important. Number one, they generate empowerment. When we ask open questions, we are encouraging people to think for themselves and generate their own solutions. That empowers them and builds their confidence. Number two, it generates more motivation and engagement. Very simply, people are always more motivated and engaged to act on and execute a plan they developed themselves rather than one that was given to them. And the final one, which links to something I said previously, is that open questions really help us develop a deeper understanding of other people's perspectives. So that is it for this episode of the Leaders Kit Bag. As always, I hope you found it useful. Look after yourself and those you've got the privilege and responsibility to lead. And if you need any support with training, coaching, or keynote speaking, do drop me a line and get in touch. Until next time, lead on.